Hello and welcome everyone, welcome back after a break to the OVRC. I am joined once again by Erwin. That was a sentence.
Words are hard. Hello everyone.
It's just like old time, you know, me messing up the first intro of the season immediately. We are at a not so sunny Silverstone for the first race of the GT3 Season 3, in fact. The third season we have done this. And yeah, we are at Silverstone for the first round, a 3.6 mile circuit or 5.8 kilometers as we now start with qualifying, and that's one of the Lexus at the pits very quickly. That is John Dalton, who's immediately jumped out. So again, he's keeping his trend up from last season of being first at the pit lane. So yeah, new season, new faces, old faces still out there. Obviously, John Dalton just mentioned, Mark Whitford, Adam Carlisle, Dendo, Orson's there, James Butler, Lawrence, Stuff Mills out there, Thomas Olsen. But there's some new faces in there as well. There's Daniel Schmitz, Domain Lowe there as well, Devonshire, saying that incorrectly I know, but... So yeah, there's a few new faces this time around. Are you excited for the season, Owen? You hyped after a break?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here again. And hopefully we'll get some close racing. We've got a lot of sign-ups and a lot of people in this session right now. 41 drivers.
41 cars.
So hopefully it's going to be a good one.
Yes, hopefully it is, as it's... There's a possibility of rain. It's not completely confirmed, obviously, but we'll see what happens. Track currently is 17 degrees, cloudy, so it's quite, it's quite cold. Not really any sunlight to help warm up the track, but possibly a risk of rain as John Dalton allows his teammate pass through down the Wellington Straight, obviously using the old pit lane around Silverstone, so you'll be using the old start-finish line location, as we are going to watch on Mark Whitford for this first timed lap of qualifying. 20-minute qualifying session, here we go. Through Woodcut, down the pit straight, it's off to the side there. First corner is Cops, unlike in F1, where you start with Abbey, so through Cops, fast corner. Roll the car out. Can't be too wide though, there is a cut limit there. And then you're immediately into Maggott and Beckett. This is a fast sweeper corner, intense in a high downforce car like an F1 car or LMP1, but a bit more tricky in one of these GT cars, a bit more balancing the car through. Get a good exit out of Chapel. Then you've housed down one of the first straights of the Hangar Straight. If you get a good exit out of Chapel, there's a good overtaking opportunity coming into Stowe. On the brakes, this corner feels a lot tighter than it actually is. If you look at the track maps, it's about 90 degrees. It feels a lot tighter, but obviously you go quickly down Vale towards the club chicane. Actually, club's the next corner. The chicane's in front of club. Sorry. Then towards down the modern day pit exit. I'm messing my words up. It's been a while. Pit straight. This is where F1 and stuff is based. Get hard on the brakes for Abbey. It's a flick to the right, followed by Farm, which is to the left. This is a very fun section. I love this section. Hard on the brakes down for Village, into the Village sort of section. Again, possible overtaking opportunity here. Around the sort of hairpin. Then you go on this bit, which is all flat out. Now you cut the corner here now, and you head down onto the Wellington Centre, the second of the two long straights around here. Then you go into Brooklands corner. By the long right-hander off a left field. Bounce the car. Try and get not too early on the power if we go off into the gravel. Get it right. Swing the car around. Full throttle now until the finish line, which will be approaching now. And that's the first time of 1:58.05.
Teammate John Dalton is 7/10 off, as Marcus Lawrence just went into P1 with 1:57.6.
So a lot of people are now setting their first times. Quite a crowded track, given how many cars are actually on the track.
Yeah, Thomas Olsen just took P1 with a 157.5.
Lawson coming through right now. His first time. He's cutting behind Stoffmill right now in the two new cars this season, the AMG GT3 Evolution. With that, I don't like the front end on that thing, but there you go. So we'll leave it at that. That's going around there. So obviously the Ferrari Evo as well. Victor Berlin is driving that. So only a few new cars going up. A few old cars. I think Falkenstein is driving the V12 Vantage. On the Bentleys, I believe that is Mawson's Bentley. I believe. Did I get that wrong? I get confused. There's so many Bentleys, I couldn't see the number. I'll learn the liveries over the season. As Mawson heads around through the final corner now. And goes a sixth fastest with a 158.1. Still quite a few people around on time. Alan Wolf improving by 2 seconds. Like Mickey Lagarde as well. And Goss is also improving. Timothy Glennier is also improving as well. He's returning face. Tom Potters is also improving right now. Yeah, quite a few people improving all the way around the grid as Devonshire crosses the line and improves his lap time. Potters will cross the line. Will improve his time to a 1:57.7. Mark Whitford now heading into a village right now. He's currently... He was improving, he's now lost a bit of time to possibly... losing a bit, sliding into the village there. And yes, is losing a lot of time now on the exit. Andre Ferreira is also improving by 7/10.
Yeah, Tom Pottage improving by 3/10. Jordan Grant Smith was kind of on the edge improving right now. So we'll see how he does as he is over halfway through his lap now. A very small gap between him and Marcus Lawrence in the fight for pole position right now.
Yeah, the field's quite close right now. About to say just before that though, the car field is interesting sets of cars coming from last season. There's a lot of McLarens, a lot of them.
Yep.
We're playing a game of Spot the McLaren, and you'll find one. Andre improving by a second now, heading to the final part of his lap. Heading into Luffield now, he'll be jumping quite far up the order right now. If he does, continues going.
Jordan Grant Smith about to cross the line. Let's see if he can take P1. No, he can't.
As Andre Ferrer goes pole. So that's an impressive lap.
Tom Pottage 8/10 up right now, as he is coming towards the end of his lap.
Oh, we put him right now. He's currently going to possibly be a second up right now. 9/10 up right now as he goes for the final corner. What? And he goes pole by half a second.
That's a great lap from him.
Great lap from him right now. Sam Winter currently down, improving by a second. He's quite far down the order, so let's see if he can move himself up. Again, quite a big grid. Qualifying, quite important. That's a large grid as well. He moves up to P18. Timothy Glenning currently sitting at P22, quite a bit further down than we're expecting him normally. Of course, driving the Honda NSX, a car I think is a bit BOP dependent compared to some other cars. Obviously, new season does mean the BOP has changed a bit. Cars, obviously, the new cars coming in. Also, a new tyre. If you didn't know, slightly different tyre compound this time around. This will, of course, affect all the European tracks, as Timothy does not improve. Oh no. I just forgot what start-finish straight we're using again. Oh, who does this? Why do you do this? Life is currently improving. He's 4 attempts up in P7. Torturers as well in P14. He's improving by a couple of attempts.
There's Olsen improving by 10 right now. He's currently in P5.
Ryan Eastham's improving by a second all the way down in P38. He's looking to improve some time, as Joshua Devonshire is also in P27, improving by 7 tenths. And then going found the final call this time for properly. 2 tenths up, so this is pushing him a bit further possibly, but only P21 right now. Right, Easterham is going to improve by over a second right now. Speaking of that, Milliot was improving by a second. He's dropped down to 7 tenths now. He's quite far down the order compared to where we normally see him. Order's a bit mucked up, to be fair, after watching practice. Victor Berlin's a bit further down than expecting. Milliot's a bit further down than he's expecting.
Thomas Olsen heading on the final corner now. A couple tenths on his delta so far. Let's see if he indeed improves, and he does. He moves up to P3.
Like Stoffmill currently improving a bit, but only 2 attempts right now. Over a second off pole. Last time we were at Silverstone, he was on, what, the 2nd row? He's currently down.
Stoffmill stays in P6 for now, although he did improve.
So back then he was driving the Nissan GTR GT3. Marcus Lawrence currently was improving, but currently not as dramatically. So they're heading now into club. Only one of the Lexuses of WD Motorsport up ahead. Obviously, Teams Championship is a thing. We're still doing that. So, team points are on offer. The top, the 2 cars can score points for a team. Yeah, Tom Portage over a second still. Over a second? Over half a second. I'm really struggling today. Really struggling. People improving down the order. Adam Wolf's improving, so is Falkenstein and Ryan Eastham. Currently all improving by a bit there, as they are quite far down the order in P36 and P37. Looking to jump the order up a bit. It's still quite close, all the way down. It's quite a close field. It's all pockets of little groups, but as Marcus Lawrence goes to P3. Falkenstein jumps up to P32. Also currently improving by a tenth. There is also Nicholas improving by 2 tenths, currently in P12 and number 9. Like Bell improving, Falkenstein improving, Zed Murray improving, and so with Adam Wolf again improving their times, as says approaching the 5-minute mark of qualifying. I'm wondering if anyone's got anything in the bag to try and counter Tom Postish's lap time right now.
Well, we're not really seeing anyone getting close so far. Jordan Grant Smith improving by a little bit, as is Olaf Leve.
Sebastian Brunner in practice was showing some decent pace. He's currently seeing P8 right now, 1.2 seconds off his teammate. It's not a bad lap. To be fair, like, you know, that Tom Postish's lap was insane.
Mark Whitford is just going out the final corner. Looks like he's got a couple tenths of improvement in him. So let's see, and he moves to P7. He gains a couple of positions there. Grant Smith has lost half a second. So he won't be improving.
Yeah, he was on a quick lap and I think made a mistake and aborted it. Fell is currently improving by a 10th. Sebastian Brunner is improving by half a second behind. So we can see where he can put his McLaren. Improves his time. Moves to P7. Sebastian Brunner will go around the final corner now and we'll jump up to P6. Still a lot of improvements going on in the closing phases of qualifying right now. Marcus Lawrence currently improving, Sebastian Brunner currently improving, Mike Stoffmill also an improvement right now, along with Leffe. Well, Sam Winter currently improving, Liam Holmes also improving right now, Pavel Markov and Mike Bell all currently on improvements as Mike Stoffmill aborts his lap. Actually loses some time he just gained.
Marcus Lawrence a couple tenths up right now. Does have some traffic ahead of him.
Yeah, and he'll just be out of the way for now. Obviously, if it keeps another lap going, it might become an issue. Be his last lap if he crosses the line, as the clock will hit. There's 2 minutes left in it. He'll cross the line and moves up to P2. 3:03 off Tom Postish. Vanton Millet moves up to P22. Nice little improvement there. Sebastian Brunner moving by 3/10. Oh no! One of the Jaguars clipped Sebastian as using an improvement there. And his team up. That's not actually a good thing to happen. Which are currently 6/10 up on his last lap, so it's a Falcon start a bit further down the order. A bunch of people. Right, as the clock is at 0 now, so there'll be last chance for people to finish their laps now.
Yep, Sam Winton is in 25th and currently improving by about 4/10 as he is coming towards the end of the lap. And let's see if he can still gain a few positions here. Like he should be able to, as he crosses the line and moves up to 19th.
Good improvement by him, moves up into the top 20 for now, anyway, as long as no one else behind him improves.
Well, it doesn't look like anyone will. Most of them are in the pits.
Yep.
So I think he'll be safe there.
Well, currently improving his time a bit as he heads through the final corner now. Let's see if he can move anywhere a bit further up. Currently P9, crosses the line, and stays P9. Does improve his time, but not enough to gain anything from it. As this is starting to look like the final thing, as Tom Potters will secure pole. As there's a few people sort of go to improve their laps, but...
Yep, Lejanos just moves from 16th to 11th. I think that's about it. There's a few people out. Damien Lowe going to cross the line pretty soon, currently in P28. And moves into P27, so gains one position there. And that was it. That's the end of qualifying. And it will be Tom Pottage who takes pole position ahead of Marcus Lawrence, Andre Ferreira, Thomas Olsen and Jordan Grant Smith, forming the top 5.
Yeah, so that'll be... Yeah, so, yeah, a lap by Tom Pottage.
Well, nobody really got
No,
close, so
no.
that's a pretty impressive lap.
Like the McLaren's definitely some pace today. Sebastian's got some pace as well. I think he could have got a bit further up the order if that he didn't have his lap. Sort of got blocked earlier. As the race is wet for the start. For the first race. It's not a monsoon at least. But yeah, wet race.
Yep, looks like it's going to be a wet start, although it will clear up pretty soon.
Yeah, that changes things a bit. A lot of drivers in the Discord earlier were complaining the McLaren's not very good in the wet. Just after all the McLarens in qualifying have been showing strong performances. So,
Yep. It is worth noting that as far as you can tell, it's going to be very brief rain though. So it's saying its prediction is that in 10 minutes it will dry up.
sorry about that. So yeah, Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rain, but it should mean that people will have to possibly think about tyres. So, is it wet enough to use wet tyres? Is it just use the slicks? And get enough temperature into them? It's going to be interesting. It's actually starting grid for the top 24 on screen now. As I said before, Tom Potter's on pole alongside Marcus Lawrence. Second row, Ferreira Olsen. Third row, Grant Smith and Mike Stoffmer, who was quite a bit off the pace, but I think more maybe it's McLaren being so strong than anything. But, maybe just everyone else has improved over the off-season. Marcus Lawrence is very strong in GT4. Leffe and Whitford on the next row behind them, followed by Nicholas and Leos. Leos? I don't know how to pronounce. Sorry, man. Asking me to pronounce
Lianos.
There we go. Me butchering names. They are more iconic duo. So,
well, we've been doing this for a while. The people know what to expect.
It's just been
unless it's your first time here, in which case this is what you can expect.
Butchering names up. This is a disclaimer. Warning, your name will be butchered horribly. So, windscreen wipers on, lights on. 5 seconds until the track will be green for the cars to start rolling on the outlap. For the first race, and I think tyre temperature is going to be very important on this outlap. If I don't see cars weaving down the straight, I'll be disappointed. As Tom Potter's gets underway. It's not actually too bad from the cockpit, luckily. So the surface will be a bit damp. It's just going to be... It's probably the worst sort of weather. Because it's probably not wet enough to go to wet tyres. I don't imagine. If you look at that surface, it doesn't look wet.
Yeah.
It's sort of a thin layer. And we had some rain, in GT4 at Zandvoort, but that was not really anything. This is a bit worse than that, because this is it's probably like a layer of just damp.
Yeah, well, what we had in Zandvoort was 10%, and this is 20%.
At least it's not the monsoon. Don't have that again.
Yeah, that's was quite interesting when that happened. I think that was the first race last season.
Yeah, that's the first race in GT4. The rest of that season was fairly sunny, apparently. Obviously, some changes to the game code and stuff that allowed the weather to be a bit more predictable. So that's a nice thing to be added. One thing to know about the race format. The pit stop rules are different. The race is back down to 1 hour length, so 60-minute race. Tyre changes are still mandatory, but no refueling is allowed. The pit window is gone. You just can't refuel. So you've got to fill the tank up and get it to the end. Now, how many will remember that? I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. People got to read the sign-up page. That'll be interesting to see. As very interesting out that people not entirely sure everyone's going at correct sort of speed. There's been lots of speeding up and slowing down. So they'll be probably going side by side very shortly as they head down to the Wellington Straight. The last part of the we're about to go racing in the next few minutes right now. The weather will start to clear up if I believe what I see. Yes, there's no more rain on the windshield of Tom Potter's McLaren.
Yeah, it's currently saying the game's currently saying 0% rain and 20% wet. So there's still a bit of wet surface, but not too bad.
It'll be a question how quickly that cleared and how much a racing line does form. The video question, obviously, the first few laps will be a bit sketchy. Everyone will probably be on slick tyres. Anyone on wet tyres has probably made a poor decision. As they head on down to the start-finish straight, as they all go.
Yeah, it was clear that it was very light rain and it was only going to be very short. So I can't imagine anyone will be starting this race on wet tires.
I don't know, maybe they think that the wet tyres will heat up quicker, so you have like a really soft tyre. Anyway, the cars are now onto the start-finish as they head down towards the start lights. As we wait for them to go green. And they have gone green for the round one as Lawrence gets a very good start and jumps Tom Potter's there. There's a car off in the background. I don't know which one that was. One of the cars, I can't really tell. Now I've got to wait for the order to shuffle a bit as Tom Potter's takes the lead from Marcus Lawrence. As there is a Mercedes facing the other way, a bit further up into... That's just... Ooh, another, followed by a Lexus, followed by another Lexus. Getting a bit slippy right now as everyone's sort of squirreling all over the place in the slightly damp conditions. As that is, Andre is off. And he's falling quite far back, actually, down to P, what, 8? So yeah, I feel mine, but a few of the Mercedes there. Oh, no. The order's still shuffling. I should have focused. As
Yeah.
the orders are shuffling around a bit. As I get through the first timing bar. Tom Potter's, though, is leading, followed by, I believe that's Thomas Olsen there. Marcus Lawrence dropping back a bit in the early race. He's currently under attack by Mike Stoffmer, who's jumped up to P4. So he's looking on the attack. This is going a bit free wide there. Ooh, Grant Smith just on the outside, I think. Didn't quite see him there. I think this will go away with that. As well, Grant, Thomas Olsen's gone off. Car sort of snapped in there. He's back on track again, but loses 2 positions, maybe 3. Yes, he does. So he loses another position there. So again, these tricky conditions. As Grant Smith has just gone off there as well, as he's going to get around the outside by Thomas Olsen. Not quite. Robert Nygaard is pitting, and so is Olsen. Why is that?
Stoffmill is also in the pits.
Why is that?
There's Olsen, Stoffmill, and Nygaard going into the pits.
Maybe they gambled the tyres.
Yeah,
it has to be a tyre
change. They started on wets, but I think that would be a very puzzling decision.
I'll be confused by that. Does change things up a tad. Tom Potter's got a 3.7 second gap already to the car in P2, but probably helped by just keeping the car on the road. Seems to be a valid strategy right now, as the track will be drying up very quickly now the tyres are starting to get up temperature.
A few other cars coming into the pits as well with damage, including Chase Dendo, David Schmitz, Victor Berlin. Stoffmill, Olsen and Nygaard are back out. So they have completed their mandatory tire change, so...
I'm still a bit confused about that, as one of the Lexus of WD Motorsport goes off the track. I don't know which one that was. Definitely tricky conditions. currently down in P19. Falkenstein is on a bit of an attack, goes a bit wide there, ooh, and loses it, so still tricky conditions as well. Another McLaren goes off in the background there. And there's another Aston Martin goes off as well. Oh, Adam Carlisle, Lexus losing it there. Everyone's just got to be a bit careful on that exit there, you know. As the Lexus comes back on track again.
Oh, one of the Lamborghinis got turned around. I think that's
Sam Winton. He's turned around.
Winton,
there.
yeah.
What happened there? Let's have the replay. If my game doesn't break. Okay, you can do it. I believe. There we go. So I guess he's alongside James Butler's behind him. You see the cars losing traction in the background. They go on the AstroTurf. James Butler looks down the inside. Oh, just self-loops it on the AstroTurf. I thought it was collision for a second, which is why I was sort of interested in it, but no, it just seems like the AstroTurf is very slippery, indeed. Not something you want to be particularly near.
Mike Bell was into the pit lane and is going back out again. Zed Murray also going into the pit lane with a very damaged car. Victor Berlin still in the pits with that damaged Ferrari.
Track is definitely looking drier. So Sebastian Bruni has retired, it seems, or just missed, unfortunately, with all this other stuff going on track right now.
Yep.
It's not the easiest race to cover right now, as I'm not really sure where everyone's standing. John Dalton behind Ryan Mawson. It hasn't even been 10 minutes yet, and the yeah, I don't think it's
John Dalton getting very close to the back of Ryan Mawson now.
yeah, he's getting a bit close right now. The track is obviously, ooh, Mawson's getting a bit loose there mid-corner. So Falkenstein's in the pit lane right now.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to have damage on his car.
So one of those very early scheduled stops. Track is definitely looking less reflective than earlier.
Yeah, Zed Murray is going out of the pit lane again. We're in there for quite a while.
Mawson's Mercedes looks very loose on mid-corner. He's obviously got the thing set up in a aggressive manner.
Some pottage right now, just kind of hanging out on his own. 2.7 seconds ahead.
Lawrence is slowly closing that gap down, though. I think.
Yeah, he seems to be. Lawrence does seem to be a bit faster right now. Where is Mike Stoffmill at the moment? It's currently down in 27th. There's a Lexus behind him just going off track for a bit. There was like a Kim truck.
Fewer cars entering the pit lane now.
Yeah, James Butler is in the pits. Looks like his car does have some damage on it.
It's definitely not. The track is definitely a bit greasy still with the rain on it. So it's still not in peak condition yet, but not terribly bad either. Of course,
yeah, so the track is still 10% wet, is what the game is saying.
So it's mostly off the racing line. As long as you stick to the racing line, you'll be fine. Which is quite hard to do. A few more cars pitting. Mike Stoffel currently leading out all the cars that have pitted, so a few early stops. Do wonder if anyone will be caught out by obviously the no refueling rule. Let's see, Mike Stoffel in the background there. So I was trying to close the gap as much as possible. Obviously, the advantage is pitting fairly early. Get some nice clean air at least. Just trying to close in the back of currently East Ham in front. Marcus Lawrence is still very much closing that gap onto Tom Pottage. 1.3.
Dalton almost was able to make a move on Mawson. It's very close behind right now.
Mawson got some traffic and he clips the back of the Aston. The Aston managed to keep it on the road. Mawson's getting a bit gets past the Mercedes. I'll tell you which one that is right now. It's one of them. Very useful information, I know. Yeah, he's definitely trying to close that gap as quickly as possible. Tom Pottage. He knows Tom Pottage will be struggling a tiny bit now. Feels like he's got a bit more pace, but the gap's extended to 3 seconds after all of that.
Oh, John Dalton trying to go down the inside of Ryan Mawson right now. And looks like he does get a better exit there and makes his way past, although Mawson's still very close behind. Dalton's teammate Whitford looking to get involved here as well.
Mawson looking to go around the outs.
Side by side.
Yeah, well, Whitford's trying to have involved as well. Dalton still hangs around now, gets a bit twitchy on the exit, which allowed Mawson to hit the position back. Dalton has to slip him behind now. Looks down the inside. Pulls out. Mawson trying to do as much as he can to defend this position right now. It's not what, and also Nikos there. Just McLaren behind, so it's just lurking there as well. So, a few fast cars trying to get behind Mawson right now. All of them looking for a way past. Ooh, James Butler in the background there, and the Ferrari takes a nice little drift there. As John Dodds looks to go around the outside in Village, makes the cut back, but miscalculates it and has to somewhat stamp on the brakes. Again, looking to go, will he get a good enough run this time around? Again, the AstroTurf, probably a bit safer now than it was earlier, but still not probably the best idea.
Sorry.
Let's have a look up and down the order. Andre Ferreira is currently past Avanton Mulliot, who moved to P11 after that chaotic start. Andre was a decent qualifying. Also got knocked off the track fairly early on in the slippery conditions that were the start of this race.
Looks like Whitford is going to overtake his teammate on the straight. And so he has, so maybe Whitford gets to have a go at Ryan Mawson now.
You know, maybe team orders been played. Obviously, Mawson is definitely doesn't seem to be exactly trying to getting it away from these two, so he's probably struggling a bit for pace.
Notice Mike Stoffels managed to make his way onto the timing tower on the stream, so he's currently in 21st.
Just got past Sam Winton, so Audi passes Audi. Haha, very funny original joke. Everyone laugh. Fun fact, the Audi has like a 70% front aero bias, or something like that, whatever the term is. And the Lambo has a smaller wheelbase. The more you know. Fun facts aside, Stoffman really needs to get a move on probably, but I wouldn't say he's too worried right now. He's making good ground, going through this traffic. He just needs...
he is pretty quick right now. He's, let's see, his pace is pretty similar to what some of the people at the top of the field are doing. Although Mike seems to be having a bit more traffic to deal with at the moment.
Yeah, Tom Pottage is still leading, but it's 1.6 seconds now compared to 3 seconds a few laps back.
Yep, Marcus Lawrence definitely catching up right now. I was almost a second faster on the last lap. So that could get interesting very soon.
Falkenberg getting out of the way in the V12 advantage. The old Aston Martin. Seem like they can really get, outside of attempt a few laps back on Mawson, they can't really get close enough to make something work. Glenn coming on the back of a Lagarde. So you see, climbing up the tower very slowly are the pitted drivers, all slowly climbing back up. Obviously, their issue is going to be they're going to have pretty short tyres towards the end of this race. But maybe the gamble of the wet tyres was worth it. I don't know. We'll find out. 40 minutes still to go. As Marcus Long's right behind Tom Pottage right now. Tom Pottage losing a bit more time right now. He's lost over a second the last lap, so yeah, he's definitely dropping some pace right now compared to what we had in qualifying. So you can now hold back Marcus Lawrence, who's having a fairly good race after somewhat of a struggling start there.
So yeah, Lawrence looking very close to Tom Pottage right now.
Ooh, there's a bit of a contact there.
What happened there?
I think Tom Pottage went a bit deep into the corner.
Trying to look at the replay, but it seems like ACC is really struggling with replays when there's this many drivers on track.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of early on. It took a few seconds as Tom Pottage is pitting right now, so...
Yeah, looks like Lawrence tried to go down the inside and... well, I think he maybe miscalculated something there. Or maybe Tom may have gone a bit too deep. And ended up right in the line of Marcus Lawrence. And got taken out.
Yeah, I mean... both drivers could probably do something a bit differently there. I'm not going to judge anything. I haven't had angles of it yet, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So if there's anything to come from this, it will have to come afterwards from the stewards. It's really difficult for us to judge right now exactly what happened there.
Well, as everyone wants a stewarding broadcast while the race is going on. I don't think.
Looks like Whitford's making a move on Mawson.
There we go right now down into the chicane just before Club. They go through Club, but once again stuck behind a bit more. Tom Pottage has done his confirmed tyre changes. Ooh, one of the WD cars goes a bit wide there. Someone's got to stop and go for 30 seconds.
Yep, that is Nikos Chaldekis, who is just coming out of the pits. So I assume that will be speeding in the pit lane.
So that's going to cost him quite a big chunk of time. He'll be stop and go 30 seconds.
That is quite significant. Meanwhile, update on Mike Stoffmill. He is currently in 18th position. And he is ahead of Tom Pottage after Pottage had to make that stop.
I'm wondering if Tom Pottage is struggling a bit on his tyres. Obviously, he might have set the tyres up for the wet. And now they're sort of just coming off a bit. Track temp is still, it's warmed up a tiny bit. It's now 16 degrees average around the track. So it's warming up a tiny bit compared to the start, but not massively. So it'll be interesting to see how it will go, if he's doing any tyre adjustments, pressure adjustments in the pit stops. Yep. As Mark loses it through maggots, beelines it across the track. Doesn't gain a position, but does stay right behind Mawson and will possibly try and make the move happen. If I was Mawson and this goes through, I would not be very happy. As Whitford will try and get past Mawson through the chicane.
Like he did get that done. I unfortunately didn't catch what happened to Whitford there. if there's anything to maybe look into.
I think he lost on entry into maggots from what I saw, and it cut across the runoff. And he didn't gain position doing that, but it's more the fact he probably got a better line on exit, I think, possibly. So it'd be up to Mawson to obviously report that if he feels like there's an issue. But if I was Mawson, I wouldn't be very happy. But then again, maybe he feels like he's tired at this point to shot at anywhere, as John Dalton is now going to be also trying to look to make a move. As Tom Potter just closed the gap down to Mike Stoffmill. Looks like the fight down there isn't over quite yet, as Potter is right behind the back of Stoffmill. He's got those tyres turned on very quickly now, as there is a back marker up ahead. Oh, it's not back marker, it's technically for position. Because of how used I am for these two to be right at the front, well, they're actually a bit further behind than normal. I'm about to look around the outside. Just keeping the nose there into the second part of the corner. Drops out for now. Also, we're going this next straight, and I think this is. Looking down the inside. Stuff must be careful not to get boxed in by Devonshire. Nearly happens there. Ooh. Just avoid in the back of him. Devonshire has the right to be on track there. You know, he was raised for position. He technically could just defend if he wanted to. Would it be the smart thing to do? Less so, but he's right. He can do it. I believe that. Tom Bottas wants to get in front of Stoffmill if at all possible. Looking to go around the outside in Maggots and Beckett, possibly. Oh, holding it together so fast. Bottas bit on the runoff there. How have they not touched each other during that? It was a bit close. Down the hanger straight now. Bottas on the inside. Stoffmill takes the wider line through. And keep the traction going. The inside line down the chicane. Bit of a touch there, but nothing really foul. Potter, I believe, managed to. It will, in the end, get through there. Will Stoffmill have another go attack?
Like it's just a bit too far off right now, but that was that took quite a while. Quite a close action there, which is always great to see.
Look at the gap though already. He's starting to pull it out. That McLaren that Tom Potter has got there is wicked fast.
Mark Whitford and John Dalton are into the pits.
So those teammates are pitting. I don't know if John Dalton did get past Mawson in the end there.
He did not, as far as I can tell.
Right, so it's just working out what is going on right now. Damien Lowe is currently trying to chase Sam Winter right now, down in P23.
Whitford and Dalton are back out. Like they are in 17th and 18th position. Dalton just fighting with one of the Audis.
That'll be Robert Nygaard, who's one of the early pitters as well. So let's see how he fares right now. And might find himself in a similar position as Stoffmill did, obviously hitting there at early. Dalton had the slow of the stops there between the two Lexus.
Yeah, Woodford is quite a bit ahead.
He's just behind these guys actually for the P20 right now. Sam Whitman's right behind. Right. And he's managed to get in front there just before. We're going to actually watch the replay of that because I missed that completely. Actually, that's a mistake. Watching replays isn't a good idea because... Oh, that's a good...
Yep.
That's a good move.
Replays aren't really usable right now. A bunch more people into the pits. Simply Gladdening just coming in. Olaf Leffe, Ryan Mawson, and Janos Lianos are also currently in the pits. So Mawson was one fighting with Dalton and Whitford earlier. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I think there are a few interesting battles now coming up the pit lane. P. Wright, not giving up easily. He's still attacking in the back now. John Dalton also keeping that gap with Robert Nygaard. Thomas Olsen behind Devonshire. So again, one of the early pitters.
Looking like Mawson joined behind Whitford. I think he is still ahead of Dalton, though. Yep, Dalton currently fighting with Robert Nygaard.
It's still going on. And Dalton's trying to make him as move as possible because. And Robert Nygaard. Let's see now. There's a big pack of cars now. It's up the road. Got all these early pit stops and late pit stops all sort of ending together. Lagarde is also in the back of Sovik. Norwegian. I don't know how you pronounce this mountain. Ooh.
Andre Ferreira and Valentin Molliet are just into the pits.
John Dalton looking down the inside into Brooklands. Oh, no, but I got a go back. Goes a bit wide, but just yeah, it's not letting him through a bit. Don't really have the traction to hold it around there. As let's see if John Dalton can etch that gap out now. Does seem that John Dalton's got a bit more pace in hand as he's sort of etching that gap out. Robert Nygaard.
More people into the pits. Devonshire and Sam Winton are now also in the pits.
Everyone's pitting.
Andy Howard also coming into the pits. Marcus Lawrence coming into the pits. The leader is in the pits.
The leader's pitting now.
The leader's pitting now.
So, can Tom Potters with his clean air? He's got tons of clean air right now. Can he catch in time? Tyre change is about 30 seconds, give or take.
Jordan Grant Smith is also into the pits.
That's the two front rows, meaning that Scott will be taking the lead. He hasn't pitted yet. Tom Potters now heading through Brooklands now. Where will Lawrence be, I wonder? Still hasn't finished his tyre change, just finished now. Tom Potters
he is just coming out now. Where's Tom Pottage?
Through the final corner right
just
now.
Driving past the pit lane.
Oh, Lawrence will get out in front, I believe. Yes, just about.
Yeah, it's close though.
It's close. Very close indeed. So as well, Stoffmill 7 seconds behind Pottage. That's insane. So much pace that Pottage has in that car right now, and Stoffmill just seems to be lacking this time around. Question is, can Pottage close the gap onto Lawrence?
Scott Sovic is just heading back out of the pit lane. One other driver in there right now. Andy Howard.
I believe that's most people.
Looks like, yeah, most people have pitted now. Looks like it's just Patrick Wright and Ryan Easton who
Some
have yet
traffic
to
up
pit.
ahead. If I was an MLP driver, I'd be holding down my flash button about now as they go through a big pack of traffic, the leaders. I'll be holding that button down as much as I can, because that's the worst thing you want. You don't want to have a pack of cars in the way. You want, especially when you're trying to charge them down. I don't know who lost more time in that, Pottage or Lawrence. I think Lawrence is the loser in that regard. Lawrence will have a few laps fresher tyres, though. That is important to remember. As there is more yellow flags up ahead, and it's the thing you want to see. That's a big old gaggle of cars. Closing to nearly half a second now. Oh, it's probably looking in front and please get out of the way. Please get out of the way right now as the Mercedes gets out of the way. The old spec one, I can't remember who's actually driving that right now, but someone's driving the old one. Good on them, because that car looks a lot better. Look at the closing distance on the brakes, though, for the McLaren. Gets right up the rear end of the Bentleys, nearly hits the diffuser there.
Mark Whitford's just gotten past Thomas Olsen. John Smith right behind Olsen as well.
More traffic up ahead for the leaders. That's one of the McLarens. That's the Lexus off the track. Ooh, darts right in front. Get out of the way. Tom Pottage dives through as well through the gap. Managed to clear that bunch of traffic fairly easily, but Lawrence Pratt lost 3 seconds that lap at the fastest. He seems to be taking most of the brunt of the traffic up ahead. Now head once again down to Maggots and Beckett's. There's a race going off other places right now, just for your information. It's just... what's going on? Also, there's behind Grant Smith. The face behind him, you know, it's some racing going on elsewhere, but it's always good to have a fight for the lead right now. Once again, I think sometimes it gets a bit too close there to really make anything happen. There is another lap car up ahead as Lamborghini beats Sam Winton. Still don't know who to call for this right now. It's gotta be a bit careful. Pottage obviously he's going to be using those tyres up. The track is now 16 degrees. Track's temperature is somewhat stabilised a bit. It's not really increasing or decreasing with the more wear, but will he get a good run here? He's going right at the back of that car down the Wellington Straight. Lawrence takes the defensive line. Forces Potters go the long way around. Potters taking, so trying to make a cutback move there right now in the way he's positioning his car. Trying to get better runs through the corners or a bit slower apex speed. Will never go into cops. Lawrence hugs the pit wall, moves over. Ooh, it's a bit close indeed. A bit side by side going through cops. You see that every day in a GT car. Yeah, Lawrence is getting a bit desperate though now with some of these defensive moves. Trying to keep that McLaren at bay at all costs right now, but he's won many races before, Lawrence, so you know he can do it now. Last time Potters has won the race has been a while now. Potters forced to go the long way around. It's a bit more contact there. Potters forced very long way around, forced a bit onto the grass as well.
So very close between Mark Whitford and Jordan Grant-Smith as well.
Well, Whitford's close to the back of Stoffmill as well.
Yeah,
so.
that's also true. Oh, someone's off the road. Honestly, Mercedes. Not Grant-Smith. It's a bit difficult to follow these fights right now because there's people in different laps racing between each other.
Stoffmill's dropped behind Whitford and Grant-Smith, so he's losing a lot of time now. So his early pit stop gamble not really paying off right now in the Audi, as Olsen's also seems to be closing the gap. Grant-Smith wiggling behind Whitford. Kind of playing if he can make his way through somehow. Obviously lapped car of Victor Berlin in the Ferrari. A bit of a disappointing race for him right now after showing some decent pace early on. Meanwhile, there's still a fight for the lead. That's definitely Winton's Lamborghini. He'd be probably start to get out of the way on the straight as soon as possible, because these two will be charging through. Array or not. Well, he does have his own race to deal with. We don't know who to follow at this point.
It's quite tough.
Smith might be looking to have a go now on the Lexus going down towards Stowe. Looks around the outside. Can he keep it holding there? Gets a bit on the AstroTurf. A bit less slippery now. That AstroTurf on the brakes now into the chicane. We'll have the inside line and we'll get in front for now. Whitford have another go in a bit.
Pottage almost making the move on Lawrence right now. Like he could do it. No, it's quite lined up right for this corner.
Oh, I guess the Bentley parked in the apex a bit there. I'm saying he does take his line, but that Bentley's being as wide as possible. As when the Aston Martin in the background goes off, as looks for down the inside, but backs out of it. At some point, he's just got to lick the stamp and send it, I imagine. Yeah, we've got to keep you cool. Going against another driver. Just keep relaxed and get your... Definitely has the pace to get past Lawrence. But I think...
Oh, Olaf Leffe and Thomas Olsen just touched. They were very close together. And that was a big touch. But their positions don't seem to have changed. Didn't lose too much time there, fortunately.
Once or two, still defending from Pottage. Forcing to go a long way around the outside of the chicane, deep in. Late on the brakes, has to somewhat back out of it. Again, Lawrence just defending to the inside, just holding that line. Forcing Pottage to make these sort of desperate moves right now. Sam Winton just makes a little mistake there and decides, you know what, I'm just going to stay off the track. Probably quite a smart thing to do when these two are coming through. Grant Smith making a bit of a gap to Whitford. I must say this helicopter pilot is obviously very quick. Just moving. Grant Smith's got some pace right now. He's closed the gap by a second to the leaders. Obviously the leaders fighting each other isn't going to be helping their pace exactly. As my thing says, Tom Pottage is P1, but the timing tower says he's P2. Fascinating.
Seems like some of the other fights have fizzled out a bit. More of a gap between Grant Smith, Whitford and Stuffmill now. Leffe is still very close to Olsen, as they are also having some traffic to deal with. But really our main focus right now is the top two. We are having a thrilling fight for the lead. Been close like this for a while now. Kept it mostly clean so far.
It's very
but they've been very close together.
good run out the corner now by Pottage. Can he keep this going? Has to lift a bit there. Lawrence ties down to the inside as far as he can go. And not quite close enough for Tom Pottage to get round. Time is slowly running out, and I imagine Tom Pottage's tyres are slowly running out as well. There is a yellow flag somewhere on track. Has been cleared. Nygaard currently
Let's
behind.
see if Tom can have another go here. Going around the outside. Ooh.
Bit of a touch there. Nearly 10 minutes to go. Lap 23, soon to be lap 24. Tom Pottage is dropping a tiny bit back, but was actually far back. Still well within striking distance.
Leffe also still within striking distance of Olsen. In fact, he's having a go right now. And looks like he has gotten past Thomas Olsen. Up to P6. Olsen might have another go at him. Looks like he won't be able to. So we left him behind Stoffmill right now.
A few more lapped cars just up ahead. In front of our leaders. Very close to the front here. Though. Grant Smith is slowly closing the gap down, but honestly, not as much you expect for two cars that'll be battling each other for the last, what, 20 minutes? So as the traffic is just up ahead, Will getting out of the way, just about. The 32 gets out the way as well.
Leffe is pretty close behind Stoffmill now. He might be having a go into the next corner.
Olsen's
also
also
looking
there.
to get involved here as well.
Looking very opportunistic there as well. We just catch them just now. Give a little gap if you can. Tom Potter just gets very loose there. The exit of Chapel.
Like Leffe could be having a go at Stoffmill. Stoffmill defending there.
Around the outside of the chicane.
Gap between Lawrence and Pottage just increased by a lot.
Slow lap right now for Pottage.
I'm gonna try to see what happened to Pottage.
A touch there with Mike Stoffmill and Liv. There's a very good exit though right now, out of Village.
Levin Stockman once again on the straight. What will happen this time?
Mill will have the inside line for now. Definitely struggling for.
For down the inside. Like he will make his way past Softmill this time around. Softmill could have another go back at him though.
Keep it down the
Immediately into
inside.
the next corner.
Brown Cops. Abbey, sorry, wrong corner. Thomas Olsen just being there as well, just to try and pick up at pieces. Four minutes to go.
There's a Bentley off the road.
Yeah, just not sure that's a good place to be.
That's not the line.
No, that's not the line. Not even the esports line. As the gap between Lawrence and Potter isn't really closing now. Just holding stationary, so possibly Potter's run out of tyre, or is just having bad luck in traffic, or Lawrence has managed to get some pace together. Saying that, Lawrence set his fastest lap last time around. So Lawrence has definitely got some pace still left in that Bentley.
I mean, Lawrence and Potter are doing a very similar pace right now. So the last lap, Tom Potter was only 10 slower. And it looks like he's faster on his current lap.
Although, do something very quick though, with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think Lawrence would have to make a mistake for Tom Potter to have another attempt here. There's just not enough time left in the race now.
If that get within a second, do the biggest lunge ever. Thomas also with the back of Mike Stoffmore right now, looking down the inside. Forced wide, that's the dropping right behind.
Cottage a few tenths faster than Lawrence. On the last lap, actually just set his personal best lap. Doesn't seem to really be having any issues with those tires.
Yeah, it's a little mistake earlier or something. Took him completely out of the 1 second range. Is it with a second now, it looks like?
Yep. It looks like the final lap will be starting soon. So this will be, there will be one more lap after this one.
Also looking around the outside. Can't quite do anything when you get bad traction now on exit though. Quite possibly. He's going to the inside line now, heading down into the chain before club. Stoffmiller doing his best to keep the car's nose in. Just a bit of a squeeze there.
Lawrence and Pottage are getting towards the end of the lap, so the final lap will be starting very soon.
Gap has once again opened up to 1.8 seconds.
Leaders on final lap now.
So the top two are now on the final lap of the race.
You're now basically taking a mistake from Lawrence to really not make him have the win. Let's see, clock has hit 0. Getting lost with this timing thing. Back marker in the way right now. Just need to pull out the way though for Lawrence. Medium the road first time for Top Hottage. Marcus Lawrence will. One more corner to go. Round 1 of the OVRC GT3 Season 3. Marcus Lawrence takes the checkered flag to win Silverstone. After a very close fight with Tom Potters. Tom Potters will come home P2. Not the result he wanted after getting pole.
Jordan Grant Smith going around the final corner now and will finish in P3, rounding out the podium. And then next will be Mark Whitford in P4. And then will be Olaf Leffe in P5. Followed by Thomas Olsen in P6. Then Mike Stoffmill in P7. Followed by John Dalton in P8.
Stoffmill just wave his windscreen wiper. Just wave his windscreen wiper rather than flash his lights.
Robert Nygaard next to cross the line in P10.
I'm awesome down in P11 after. Well, his front end's being biffed a bit, so not the best race for him. Not a good start for him in his new car either.
Yeah, was fighting with Whitford and Dalton earlier, but finishes in P11. And will be Lianos in P12 and Pavel Markov in P13 as he sprints round his Lexus. Next will be Timothy Gladdening in P14. And then Valentin Molliet will finish in P15 with the Nichols Chaldakis McLaren close behind him. Or is that a different McLaren? Looks like it's a different McLaren because Nichols is just crossing the line. Followed by Leggard. And it will be Adam Wolf crossing the line next with a couple of other cars close behind him. And that should be everyone finished, I think.
Yep. That's everyone finished. So, Marcus Lawrence, winner of round 1 after getting a lead just before Tom Bodge's pit stop and has managed to hold on for that the entire time. Yeah, that was a close race to, at various points, you know. It was the tricky conditions at the opening did, I think, throw some people off a bit. Otherwise, yeah, that was a close race.
Yep, it was pretty close indeed. And overall, pretty enjoyable. Maybe towards the end, there were a bit more gaps between people, but still a very enjoyable race. And we've got a lot of people turning up for this first race of the season, so hopefully that's a good sign for the rest of the season. So if you enjoyed it, we would really appreciate it if you could press the like button. and also subscribe to the channel if you want to catch our upcoming races. So next week we will have the next round of the GT3 Series at Kyalami.
Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you then.
Goodbye.